10 things on the ex-Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig coach. Nicknamed Baby Mourinho early in his coaching career, Julian Nagelsmann has shown he's very much his own man after impressing with Hoffenheim, RB Leipzig and Bayern Munich. 1. Record breaker. Nagelsmann was just 28 when he was appointed as head coach of Hoffenheim in February 2016, taking over from veteran tactician Hub Stevens, who resigned due to health reasons. Nagelsmann was already scheduled to take charge later that summer, but brought forward his arrival to fill the void. The club were in 17th place and seemingly set to go down at the time, but he lifted them to safety by the end of the campaign. Nagelsmann later made European history when he took Leipzig to the UEFA Champions League semifinals shortly after his 33rd birthday. He's the youngest coach to reach the Final Four, surpassing Didier Deschamps' previous record of 35 years, and did so by knocking out Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone, who made his senior debut as a player the year Nagelsmann was born. It's also worth remembering that he's actually a month younger than Lionel Messi. 2. In Bayern's top 5. Nagelsmann signed a 5-year deal at Bayern. That his tenure ended barely 18 months into it should not mean you write it off as a failure. He won the 2021-22 Bundesliga title with 3 games to spare, and over the course of his time at the Allianz Arena boasts a points-per-game record of 2.16. That puts him in the all-time top 5 of Bayern bosses, ahead of the likes of 2012-13 treble-winning coach Jupp Heynckes and 2000-01 UEFA Champions League winning tactician Ottmar Hitzfeld. 3. Training ground innovator. Hoffenheim are one of the few clubs in the world to use the Footbonaut to fine-tune their players' touch and control, but Nagelsmann took the use of technology in training even further. As well as using drones to film his squad's movement, he had a giant video wall installed on the halfway line of their main training pitch. The system works with 4 cameras, 2 from a tower high above the halfway line and 1 behind each goal. The feed from each camera can be shown on the screen at any time, and the cameras are controlled by the training staff, giving them the opportunity to stop, rewind or fast-forward the footage to show the players' particular points of interest. It gave Nagelsmann the chance to explain situations in far more detail with 4 angles at his disposal. 4. Famous role models. Although Nagelsmann cites former Bayern coach Pep Guardiola as a source of inspiration, he acknowledges erstwhile Borussia Dortmund boss Thomas Tuchel as having the biggest influence on him. While Augsburg reserve team coach during the 2007-08 season, Tuchel gave Nagelsmann the task of scouting upcoming opponents. "That was my way into coaching," Nagelsmann explained. "I learned a lot from him." Tuchel was equally complimentary of his young protégé. "He's a very inquisitive and very hard-working young coach," he said when Nagelsmann got the Hoffenheim job. He enjoyed exceptional successes in youth football. "I'm very happy for him and I believe in him." 5. Tactical versatility. Nagelsmann's 2 seasons with Leipzig proved a nightmare for Bundesliga fantasy managers. He drilled his former team to be capable of playing in any number of formations, from back 3s or 4s, to a target man up front or no center forward at all. It's something that still makes his teams incredibly tough to predict for observers and opposition alike. Even when lineups are released, it's sometimes not clear exactly what he intends to do with those 11 players. And he's not afraid to make changes early within games, both tactical and personnel, when he realizes the original plan is not working as thought. There are few coaches out there capable of creating such fluid and versatile teams. 6. Brain box. Unsurprisingly, there are shades of Tuchel, among others, in Nagelsmann's playing philosophy. "I like to attack the opponents near their own goal because your own path to the goal is not as long if you get the ball higher up," he said. I like the way Villarreal play, and they have a great way of coaching young players. I also like Barcelona and Arsenal as well as the work of Arsène Wenger. Nagelsmann has long been a deep thinker. He started studying a business degree but dropped out before completing his bachelor's degree in sports and training science instead. As if that were not enough, he was awarded an A grade in his professional coaching license, finishing second in his class behind former Schalke coach Domenico Tedesco. Furthermore, Nagelsmann's know-how on the Hoffenheim dugout impressed Germany's football community to such an extent that he was voted Coach of the Year for 2016. It also contributed to former Leipzig boss Ralf Rangnick recruiting him for Die Roten Bullen in time for the 2019-20 campaign. 7. Injury heartache. Born in the Bavarian town of Landsberg am Lech, Nagelsmann played for 1860 Munich's youth sides. While former teammates Christian Trash and Fabian Johnson went on to establish themselves in the Bundesliga, a knee injury sustained shortly after he had joined Augsburg cruelly ended Nagelsmann's ambitions of joining them, aged just 20. At first, I didn't want anything more to do with football, Nagelsmann, a defender in his playing days, said. It was very sad for me that I had to end my career so young. 8. The Nagelsmann Table. Such was the fascination with the young, rookie coach in the first year of his tenure that German media began keeping a Nagelsmann table, highlighting how his record stacked up against those of other clubs. While most outlets have long since given up keeping score, it still makes for impressive reading. Over the course of 116 games between his debut on matchday 21 in February 2016 and the conclusion of his time at Hoffenheim at the end of the 2018-19 season, Hoffenheim earned a total of 191 points. To put that into context, only Bayern, 279, and Dortmund, 228, won more over the same period, with big teams such as Bayer Leverkusen, 182, Borussia Mönchengladbach, 170, and Schalke, 158, some way behind. 9. Smooth European operator. Nagelsmann also impressed in the dugout on European nights at Bayern, and not only for his fashion choices. He won all 12 UEFA Champions League group stage matches, which added to the 2 he tallied in his final continental outings in with Leipzig saw him equal the competition record of Louis van Gaal. Knocked out in the 2021-22 quarter-finals by Villarreal, he left the club ahead of another last-8 tie, having orchestrated a 3-0 aggregate win over Paris Saint-Germain in the round of 16. 10. Common goal. Nagelsmann's success has not gone to his head, however. Quite the opposite, in fact. In October 2017, he became the first head coach in world football to sign up to the Common Goal Initiative, a project in which footballers pledge at least 1% of their wages to a collective fund managed by Berlin-based non-governmental organization Street Football World. He joins fellow Bundesliga representatives Mats Hummels, Serge Gnabry and Dani Olmo, among others, in signing up to the worthwhile cause.